Have you ever started running and thought no matter what you do, you're consistently getting slower? You try and exercise, you try and run, you try and steadily increase your mileage, you're not sure what's going on. Well, I have some reasons for you why you might be running slow. Okay, hopefully you could hear everything that I was saying in that video, but it was quite windy, so I'll say it again for your benefit. Today's video is 12 reasons why you might be running slowly. Reason number 1 is overtraining. I don't know if you're like me, but you may have found yourself in a position where you've got really excited about a new hobby and gone super into it. Overtraining can be one of the most frustrating things for a running beginner because you're putting in all of your time and effort into this new hobby and you will still feel as if you're going nowhere. It's really hard to believe that overexerting yourself is actually the thing that could be slowing you down. Studies have actually shown that it may not just be problems with your performance that you get from overtraining. Things like a depressed immune system, muscle fatigue, and even muscle damage can all result from overexerting yourself. It's not necessarily known where overtraining comes from or how overtraining occurs, but it is believed that it's got something to do with too much exercise and too little recovery. The remedy for overtraining is a simple one. Take a break. Give yourself some time out, especially when you're just getting into running. Give yourself plenty of time for your body to recuperate and get back into working order before exerting yourself again. Reason number 2 for why you might be running slow is the weather. I know from the video that I just posted a moment ago when I was outside running today that it was really windy and I found it really difficult to complete my run, a lot more difficult than I usually do. It only makes sense that we are going to run a little bit slower in difficult weather conditions. Examples include conditions where it might be really hot, you're going to run a lot slower because of the heat. You're also going to run a lot slower in rainy, snowy conditions because you're probably being more cautious. So unfortunately, there's not a lot that we can do about the weather. It is always going to be the case where there are some conditions we prefer to run in than others. When it's really hot or when it's really rainy, you should just expect that you are going to be running a little bit slower. With that in mind, there are a few things that you can consider doing to combat the elements whilst you're out in difficult runs. Examples might include investing in the right kind of gear, such as trail running shoes for really difficult slippy terrain, and also running jackets and other clothing that's going to protect your body. If you'd like to know more about running jackets, check out my blog and the description below, underdogrunning.com/running jackets. There's some really helpful information on that page about what kind of running jacket may be right for you. Reason number 3 is lack of motivation. It's only natural that we begin to lose a bit of motivation after running mile after mile after mile. Granted, when you first start out, you might feel really excited, but that excitement and that drive is not going to last forever. The cause for a lack of motivation for runners can come from a number of different areas. You may just not feel up to it that day, you may feel slightly bored with running the same route all the time, or it may even be that you're not setting yourself difficult enough goals. If you're looking to combat a lack of motivation when you're out running, I would recommend mixing things up. I like to run a 5k on some days and then 10 miles on another day. I also like to make my runs tempo runs, sprint runs, slow paced jogs, just make sure that I've got a really nice mix up of what I'm doing. I also like to listen to music when I'm out running, failing that, an audiobook. Give yourself enough to do while you're out on your run to make it exciting. Reason number 4 for why you might be running slow is, surprise, a poor diet. I don't know about you, but if I've eaten a whole pizza, I tend to run a little bit slower the day after. It's no secret that you are what you eat and food will definitely play a role in your athletic performance. Things like preservatives, processed sugars, refined carbohydrates, all this kind of stuff are things that can slow you down when you are out on a run, and it can harm your health in the long term as well. So we all know what the remedy is to having a poor diet, and that's a good diet. Now, what is a good diet? There are loads of different things out there, loads of different programs, loads of different dietitians who will tell you the kind of diet that you should be consuming to get the most out of your run. A general guideline, especially for a running beginner, is simply plenty of healthy, unprocessed, natural foods. A bit of moderation as well. Give yourself a little bit of everything. Don't leave yourself feeling depraved of any food. If you do want to eat a little bit of unhealthy food every now and again, that's absolutely fine. There may be specific dietary requirements that you have and specific diets that work for you. That'll all come down to testing for yourself. The next reason for why you might be running slow is bad posture. It's surprising that posture comes into reasons for why we might run slow, because anybody who is able to run has probably ran at some point in their lifetime. So it's something which we're sort of naturally expected to be able to do. That being said, there are a few bad habits that we can pick up with our posture when we are out running. Looking forward at the floor while you're out running, hunching your shoulders forward and moving your arms around in a weird sort of way are all things that can contribute to bad posture when you're out running. If you are interested in finding out more about the kind of posture you should be using when running, check out the link in the description below for my blog. It has a lot of information on it, including how you should be conducting yourself when you're out on a run. Reason number 5 is injuries. Unfortunately, injuries are always going to be a part of running. Your entire body can get affected from running through injuries, but there are a few areas of your body that are specifically susceptible to injuries. Most of this is the lower section of the body, like your feet, ankles, calves, lower back, groin, anywhere from around about the waist down, maybe a little bit higher, because of that movement you get from running can cause injuries. The good news is that although you can pick up a lot of injuries from running, there are also a lot of ways that you can prevent it, as well as cater to it if you do become injured and want to continue running. Examples might include wearing things like compression sleeves to cater to injuries that you've got when you're out on a run. Taking time off from running is really important, and also stretching before and after runs are a few different examples of how you can prevent running injuries. At the end of the day, if you are really badly injured and you see no sign of getting better, it may be worth getting some medical assistance. The next reason you might be running slow is an interesting one. It's a bad running routine. Maybe you've been running the same routine for a while, or you've not been pushing yourself in enough different kinds of workouts, and you've noticed that not only is your body getting overexerted, but you're also getting tired of the same routine and you're running slower. If you are trying to run quicker, there are a number of different things you can involve in your running routine to make it a little bit more efficient. 2 examples of how you could increase your speed when you are out on a run is interval running and tempo running. Tempo running basically involves running at a speed that you'd be able to keep up for around about an hour. You need to do that for around about 20 to 30 minutes. Interval running is exactly how it sounds. It involves running at really fast speeds followed by slightly slower paces, and you need to keep that up for around about 15 to 20 minutes. Next reason for why you could be running slow is time. Maybe you haven't given yourself enough time to see the benefits from running. If you've just got into running and you're putting your absolute all in, it can be a little bit frustrating if you don't begin to notice the benefits immediately. But according to experts, it can take anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks before you do begin to see a benefit from your workouts in terms of cardiovascular health and maybe even speed. Again, there's not necessarily any way that you can combat this. A lot of the time it does just come down to patience. Give yourself a break. You will begin to notice the benefits after a little bit of time, and don't push yourself too hard to begin with. Reason number 9 is you're not stretching enough. A lack of stretching. Stretching is boring. I hate stretching. I think it's a waste of time, and I often don't bother doing it, and that is the wrong thing to do. You need to stretch both before and after your exercises. You don't need to take my word for it. There's plenty of health websites out there that will confirm that stretching before and after exercises is really good for you. Essentially, if you don't stretch for a run, then you are not giving your muscles the right amount of flexibility. They need to be able to perform the task properly, and they are also not going to stay healthy in the long term. It could even damage your joints. Just stretch. Make sure that you stretch before and after running. So there are a lot of benefits to stretching both before and after a workout, but it is highly recommended that you do stretch after your workout as opposed to before. If you have to do one or the other, this is because it can prevent a lot of the lactic acid buildup and prevent you feeling specifically sore after your run. The next reason for why you may be running slow is that you're not incorporating strength training into your workouts. Strength training is a strange one because it doesn't have a direct link to our cardiovascular health, and a lot of people may be questioning why it contributes to our ability in running at all. Through strength training, runners are able to strengthen their joints, and as we know, by strengthening your joints and strengthening the bones around your body, it prevents your chances of injury. Making sure that you are injured as little as possible is likely to contribute to overall performance. So one of the reasons that you could be running slowly would be because you've not incorporated enough strength training into your workout to prevent any kind of injuries that could be slowing us down. You don't necessarily need to lift really heavy weights if you're trying to incorporate strength training into your running routine. Just some simple body exercises at the start of a workout may be sufficient. Things like squats and press-ups and stuff like that. Anything that can keep your legs and core nice and strong would be great. Reason number 11 for why you might be running slow is that you're not wearing the right running shoes. Wearing incorrect, wrongly sized, worn down running shoes can easily contribute to your overall performance and speed for when you're out running. You might be in the position where you've had a pair of running shoes, you've been wearing them for a while, and gradually over time you've noticed that you're running slower. I think it's around about 450 to 550 miles where you should consider buying a new pair of running shoes, because they are subject to a lot of wear down and wear and tear overall. You might also be in a position where you've bought a pair of running shoes that aren't necessarily right for you. They may be poor quality, they might be the wrong fit, they might be not necessarily catered towards your exact requirements. If that's the situation, first thing you should do is head over to underdogrunning.com to get more of an idea about things like this. The second thing you should definitely do is go to your local running shop and get some professional help and find out whether or not the running shoes you're wearing are the right pair for you. In addition to your own requirements and making sure that you've got the right size, you may also want to make sure that you're wearing the right kind of shoe to match your environment. For example, if you're out road running, get some road running shoes. If you're out on the trail, get some trail running shoes. Reason number 12 for why you might be running slow is a secret. You're going to have to go to underdogrunning.com/running slow to find out the final reason for why you may be running slow, in addition to information on all things running for beginners. Thanks very much for watching this video, guys. Speak to you soon.